Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. I'm doing shout outs today. Let me know, write your name if you want me to shout you out. Yes, shout out to Jennifer. Let me know if you want me to shout you out. Put your name in the chat. Hi, Jordan. Rule, please. Yes, shout out to Rule. Hi. Hello, hello. Jennifer asks, how am I doing? Doing well. I hope everyone's doing well too. Charlie. Write your name if you want to shout out. Erica. Addie. Geraldine. Matilda. Shout out to Matilda, to Geraldine, to Addie, Erica, Charlie, Skyla. Also, my auntie had a baby. Oh, congratulations, Skyla. Also, leave a like if you like this stream, live stream. I would truly appreciate it. Elise. Audrey. Arkeen. Manu. Savannah. Evelyn. Hunter. Shout out to Hunter, to Evelyn. Shout out to Malik. Andre? Sorry. Shout out Maria. Angel, that sounds exciting. I'm so happy for you. Riley. Keller. Sawyer. Charlotte. Olivia. Ava. Annika. Sabella. Dari. If I missed your name, if you can write it again, please. Isadora. Diana. Niel. Sophia. Amanda. Carolina. Thank you for the likes. Anna. Lainey. Delilah? Sorry. Delilah. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. I don't do it on purpose, okay? Sophia M. Alex. Busra. Bye, Angel. Have a great day. Thank you for stopping by. Nilava. Duda. Okay, shout out to these people. Thank you for supporting. Let me go to the next page. Thank you for being here. If you want a shout out, leave your name in the comments. Brenna. Shout out to Brenna. Harim. Shout out to Harim. Shout out to Isa. Heather. Isadora. Robin. Shout out to Robin. Thank you for subscribing. Ira. Annie. Evie. Shout out to Evie. Raina. Shout out to Raina. Hi, Anaya. Shout out to Lynn. Zelda. Naria. Shout out to Aria. Caro. Shout out to Caro. Marie. Shout out to Marie. Shout out to Razan. Razan. Ellie. Shout out to Cora. Shout out to Ivy. Shout out to Della. Shout out to Sage. Shout out to Beck. If I missed your name, can you please write it again? Shout out to Alma. Shout out to Alexis. Shout out to Vada. Ajuni. Shout out to Ajuni. Shout out to Maggie. Thank you for subscribing. Shout out to Cleo. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to, oh, it's going fast. Grayson. Shout out to Charlie. Sorry if I spelled it wrong. I'll write it again if you write it again for me, please. Shout out to Melinda. Shout out to Liana. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Sophia. Sophia and who? I forgot. I didn't see. Shout out to Charlie. It was Sophia and who else? Audrey? Audrey. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Francesca. Shout out to Daphne. Shout out to Robbie. Okay, shout out to these people on this page. Okay, next page. Thank you so much for your support and for being here. If you want your name shouted out, write it in the comments. Also, leave a like, please. It would help me out a lot. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you. Oops, messed up. Hold on. Okay, shout outs. Leave your name if you want me to shout you out. Barira. Shout out to Riley. Shout out to Micah. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Cynthia. Shout out to Brooke. Shout out to Lucique. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Shout out to M. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Ruby Lou. Oh, I don't know if I spelled that right. Ruby Lou. Shout out to, oh, I missed it. Shout out to Landry. Bye, Jennifer. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Macy. Shout out to Peyton. Shout out to Shirley. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Kaylee. Shout out to Geneva. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Catalia. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Manu. Shout out to Rosanna. Shout out to Camille. Shout out to Bryn. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to Audrina. Shout out to Preston. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Annabelle. Shout out to Gaia. Shout out to Charlotte. Oh no. Oops, let me try again. Shout out to Ash. Oh, I missed it. Was it Ashlyn? Shout out to Naya. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Narmin. Shout out to Johanna. Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Indy. Okay, shout out to these people. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next page. Leave a like if you like these shout outs. Thank you so much for your support. Okay, shout out to Mabel. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Lillian. Shout out to Sun Min. Shout out to Kenley. Shout out to Angeli. Shout out to Bang Chan. Shout out to Kayla. Oops. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Debbie. I think I spelled Debbie wrong. Let me know if I spelled it wrong. Oh yeah, I did. Shout out to Debbie. Shout out to Nevaeh. Shout out to Larissa. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to Kinsley. Shout out to Evelyn. Shout out to Zara. Shout out to Kaiden. Yasel. Shout out to Yasel. Shout out to Bailey. Shout out to Amelia. Shout out to Janice. Shout out to Chloe. Shout out to Mason. Shout out to Butterfly. Shout out to Yulina. Shout out to Lee. Shout out to Beatrice. Shout out to Autumn. Shout out to Cielo. Shout out to Alexandra. Shout out to Aaliyah. Shout out to Jeremiah. Shout out to Shine. Shout out to Kiki. Shout out to Harder. Shout out to McKenna. Oh no, I spelled it wrong. Oh, thank you, McKenna. Shout out to Bridget. Shout out to Kinsley Bear. Shout out to Ember. Okay. Shout out to these people. Thank you for your support. Okay, on to the next page. Thank you for leaving a like. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Lily. Zonish. Christina. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Harper. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Changbin. Shout out to Debbie. Shout out to George. Shout out to Jay Honsley. Shout out to, is it Ileana? Or is it Liana? Shout out to Dennis. Write your name if I haven't written your name. Shout out to Maddie. Ileana, okay. Maddie. Shout out to Winnie. Shout out to Melanie. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to TJ. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Isella. Shout out to Susanna. Oh, I didn't see if it was two N's. Susanna. Shout out to Hai Yoon Jin. Oh no, I'm HY. Shout out to Carson. Shout out to Dianis. Shout out to Felix. Shout out to Tilly. Shout out to Savannah. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Brielle. Shout out to Jade. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Han. Shout out to Ariel. Shout out to Mariah. Shout out to Andy. Shout out to Jungkook. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Skylar. Oh, did I spell it wrong? Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Scarlett. Shout out to Debbie. Okay, shout out to these people. Galaxy Wolf, can you write your name again? I'm so sorry, I spelled your name wrong. Okay, shout out to these people. Write your name in the chat if you want me to shout you out. Oh, yeah, Skylar, sorry. I put an A instead of an E. Let me fix that. Oh, thank you. Also, leave a like if you like the live stream. I hope we can get to 100 likes. I would truly appreciate it. And thank you for being here. And I'm happy to be here too. Okay, write your names again in the chat. So Skylar. There we go. Shout out to Skylar. Shout out to Mason. Shout out to, is it Shia? Shout out to Harmony. Shout out to Adriana. Shout out to Leonarda. Shout out to IN. Shout out to Preston. Shout out to Maddie. Shout out to Lucy. Shout out to Candace. Shout out to Debbie. Shout out to Hasina. Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Cheza. Shout out to Olivia. Shout out to Gracie. Shout out to Stella Rose. Shout out to Raylan. Shout out to Willow. Shout out to May. Shout out to Stray Kids. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Avery. Shout out to Reagan. Shout out to Kat. Shout out to Luna. Shout out to Kim. Shout out to Paisley. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Lux. Shout out to Cat's Eye. Shout out to Kaylin. Shout out to Aylin. Shout out to Monse. Shout out to Sunday. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to Rumi. Shout out to Ella. Shout out to Daisy. Shout out to Gabriella. Okay, shout out to everyone here. Thank you for your support. On to the next page. If I haven't gotten to your name, then please write it down again. Shout out to Jinu. Oh wait, hold on, this doesn't work. Shout out to Jinu. Shout out to Adeline. Shout out to Janella. Shout out to Bertha. Shout out to Mystery. Shout out to Miranda. Shout out to Zoe. Shout out to Liliana. Shout out to Aubrey. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Mary Yuri. Shout out to Eliora. Shout out to Chase. Shout out to Tawny. Shout out to Hayden. Uh-oh, I forgot to spell. I hope I spelled your name right. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Kara. Shout out to, Mira. Shout out to Lulu. Shout out to Josie. Shout out to Meredith. Shout out to Letsy. Lanxier. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Abby. Shout out to Piper. Shout out to Madeline. Shout out to Maxie. Shout out to Maria Elizabeth. Shout out to Cindy. Shout out to Erie or Irie. Shout out to Laura. Shout out to Gunnar. Shout out to, oh, it's going fast, Paisley. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Miko. Shout out to Dina. Shout out to Abigail. Shout out to Huntrix. Shout out to Yun Che. Shout out to Erie. Shout out to Nora. Shout out to Mila and Lenny. Okay, shout out to these people. Okay, on to the next one. Also, thank you for 107 likes. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for being here. Leave your name if you want me to shout you out. Shout out to Tito. Shout out to Skyla. Shout out to Montana. Shout out to Dariana. Shout out to Logan. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Manon. Shout out to Kim. Kim Tai. I didn't see the last part. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Erie. Shout out to oh, it's going so fast. Yoon Chai. Shout out to Florida. Shout out to Daniela. Shout out to Brenly. Shout out to Yaslin. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Annalise. Shout out to Sophia. Shout out to Renee. Shout out to Gnarly. Shout out to Nana. Shout out to Nushfa. Shout out to Judith. Shout out to Bob. Shout out to Saja. Shout out to Lexi. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Jules. Shout out to Lizzie. Shout out to Brenda. Shout out to Dariana. Oops. Shout out to Tiffany. Shout out to Callie. Shout out to Elizabeth. Shout out to Freya. Shout out to Jimin. Shout out to Grecia. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Rudra. Shout out to Kenzie. Shout out to Miles. Shout out to Sora. Okay. Shout out to these people. Thank you for your support. On to the next page. Thank you for being here. Brooklyn, I have you right here. Don't worry, I got you. Okay. If I haven't gotten to you, write your name again, because sometimes it goes too fast and then I can't see. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Shout out to Cinema Roll. Shout out to Blackpink. Shout out to Suga. Shout out to Flavia. Shout out to Evie. Shout out to Lexi. Leave a like if you like the live stream. Shout out to Julius. Shout out to Anna. Shout out to Chantel. Shout out to Billy. Shout out to Ayla. Shout out to Brody. Shout out to Chimmy. Shout out to Jordan. Shout out to Bo. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Courtney. Shout out to Ava. Shout out to Amaria. Shout out to Sam. Shout out to Hadley. Shout out to Bella. Shout out to Ellis. Shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Clarissa. Shout out to Hello Kitty. Shout out to Penelope. Shout out to Astro. Shout out to Alanis. Shout out to Esther. Shout out to Sunny. Shout out to Tanner. Leave a like if you like my live stream. I would truly appreciate it. Shout out to Siri. Shout out to Vivian. Shout out to Carter. Shout out to Elise. Shout out to Haley. Oh, Haley. Shout out to Emma. Shout out to Rosario. Shout out to Mateo. And shout out to Osiris. Okay, thank you so much for being here. If I didn't get to shout you out, I will shout you out tomorrow, okay, in the next one. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support and you being here. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Take care. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.